most all my friends that I've made in my life have had interest in cars. You know, they always say that you can't go back in time, but every time I get behind the wheel, it does take you back to a different time. You can go back a little bit, even if it's just for a little while. My name is Harry Green. I'm from Bastrop, Texas, USA, and this is my '57 Chevy sedan delivery. I had so much fun driving it, even though it had no radio or had holes in the floor. But I knew by the time I got home that I thought, I'm gonna keep this car. The way people honked at me and waved and everything, I thought, I love this car. I've been selling cars for 37 years and still do that. I've been at a Chevrolet dealership for 33 years now. So I guess it was my destiny since my love of cars. I ended up selling them and being in the car business for my life. One reason I've kept it so long is it combined several things. Kind of the Tri-5 Chevrolet 5567 and a hot rod. And it kind of reminded me of the old hippie van era, because I had one of those as well, and this was kind of like that a little bit inside. We used to pile people in the back, and we'd head to a bar area in Austin. We might have 6 or 8 people in the back. And I always remember a buddy of mine, everybody was watching all the people climb out of the back, and about 8 people climbed out, and he shut the door and said, now the rest of you people stay in there. We thought that was so funny. It was kind of like a good times van, and from that era, and I think that's one reason I've hung on to it so long. I've had a lot come and go since I owned this car. I had a lot of muscle cars that came and went, and I still love all of them, but somehow this one stayed. A place that resold cars actually told me about it, and he told me he had it coming in and would sell it to me for a high price. And he made the mistake of telling me what town it was in. So I called somebody in McKinney, Texas, and said, there's an old man that drives this '57 Chevy every day. A gentleman friend of mine called me back about 4 days later and said, it's Mr. Lane, here's his telephone number. So I called him, and he told me he had it sold to a gentleman. And I said, well, I want to come have a look. And when I went down and had a look, I pleaded my story that guy just wanted to resell it, and I wanted it to keep. And so I said, I might even give you a little more money than he was going to. And so he had it sold to that gentleman for $1,200, and I gave him $1,500 for it. I think that my favorite thing about the car is just really the uniqueness of it. I think that, that you just don't see another one anywhere. When I bought the car, it had holes in the floor. I drove it back 400 miles to Odessa and started the restoration. I painted it back black the first time, and we enjoyed that a bit. But one thing that was a little odd is that people would comment that they thought it was a hearse. And in fact, we were visiting some people one time out of town in it, and some neighbors came over to see who had died. And when that happened, I realized that I need to change the color of this car next time. You know, the interior on this car is part of the uniqueness of it. I've never seen another sedan delivery that had the original seats in it. These seats would flip up. They were hinged in the front, and they flipped up. So you could put stuff in the back. At that time, I was into making things go faster. After a number of years, it ended up with a V8 in it, of course, and became a hot rod. And so I have raced the car. I've drag raced the car numerous times and done well with it whenever it races. It runs real consistent. And it's a pretty heavy car. It weighs almost 4,000 pounds, but it still turns in good quarter-mile times and is, as I said, very consistent. I like to go to the nostalgia races where it's just really older cars running. And I let my son drive it for the first time, and I think he went 4 rounds with it. And so he got a pretty good taste of it and enjoyed it a lot. I always say that it's the reason I'm still working now is because of my habit with cars. My wife says that for sure. And, but I don't think I'd really trade it for anything. I really don't. It may have caused me to work a little bit longer, but I think overall it's been worth it. When we used to go to Super Chevy events, there might be one other car like that there, but there's just very few of these cars left. So I think that's a lot of the pleasure of driving it. I was 29 when I bought this car, and my wife was pregnant with our young son, and so he's grown up with this car his whole life, I would have a hard time selling it, I think. I mentioned it to him not too long ago. Do you think I ought to think about selling that car? And he looked at me like, oh my gosh, no, you could never do that. And so he wants the car, and so it's going to be here to stay, I believe. I hope I'm around for a few more years, but people talk about being buried in their car. I think this one would be a little too nice. I'd hate to waste it being buried in it, but it certainly could carry a casket and actually turn into a hearse for a short time. I don't ride in the back of it very often, but I could ride in the back at that time. I wouldn't have much choice, I guess. I guess we're going to just keep it from now on. It's kind of part of the family now.